What's up, everybody? This episode of the Step Up Podcast is brought to you by Pioneer DJ by Alpha Theta USA. Whether you're rocking clubs, battles, or cooking up magic in your bedroom studio, Pioneer DJ Alpha Theta is built to push your creativity forward. So if you're ready to step up, make sure your setup does too. Pioneer by DJ Alpha Theta USA, power your performance. This episode of the Step Up Podcast is another DMC Table Talk edition with my man Shortcut from the Invisible Scratch Pickles, Beat Junkies. You know him. It's a great episode because we dive deep into DMC's new mixing championship, the DMC Open. And who better to give us insight and clarity as to what it means to be world championship mixing DJ than Barbados' own DJ Puffy. But before we get into this, remember that the wild card deadline and also the DMC USA's deadline is coming up June 15th. If you want to enter the DMC Open or the DMC Classic for the USA, June 15th, this coming Sunday, is your last chance to enter. You got to submit your videos to dmcdjchamps.us. And for the wild card, if you want to enter the Classic, the Open, or the Scratch, submit your videos by June 15th, this Sunday as well, to dmcdjchamps.com. Let's get to the podcast.
So step up if you want to get hurt. So step up if you want to get hurt. So step up if so step up. So step up if you want to get hurt.
Yo, tune in. Just for my T-Dot family, I'll be in Toronto on the 22nd, Sunday at Chillin' and Grillin'. I'm looking forward to see you guys. Is that next week? That's like in a couple of weeks or so, right? Sweden, Brooklyn's in the house. Rancho. I was just in the Redlands at yo, Antrix. I saw Mello's spot.
The
Scratch. Mellow and D's spot. Yeah. Mellow
Have
and
you
D's
gone?
Oh man, so dope. A pizzeria with a DJ set up inside.
Yeah.
And it's just full on DJ. The whole vinyl bar thing is such a big thing right now around the world, right?
Yeah. A
To
pizza
see,
and vinyl bar, dude.
pizza and vinyl bars, and then it's almost a museum. You go in there, you'll see all like mixer. There's like a wall, and they put all the old mixers in there, and then like on the other side of it is like all old posters of like Pickles, Junkies, X-Men. So dope.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, right. Definitely got to go through, man.
Yeah, congrats to them for opening
Yeah.
that. You know,
Oh man, yeah, so proud of them for doing that. From DJing to restaurateurs.
yeah. And I know they are. We all are in some way, especially D.
Yeah, exactly. We're all food
know.
critics.
We all are.
To actually run a good pizza spot is this. Man, it's amazing. So I'm so proud of D Styles and Mello.
Yeah, congrats,
So-
man. Like that's.
Yeah.
I wish I had one of those.
Yeah. Oh, it's been inspiring. I think one of the plans is to open one in LA and in the Bay.
Oh,
So if it happens in the Bay, man, we should definitely get involved somehow for sure.
yeah. Let me invest.
Yeah, right. I'm down too. Big up Florida in here. I see y'all. Nina 9. All right, y'all. Well, man, welcome to Table Talk. This is a Table Talk, the DMC edition. Like I said, with the World Championships coming up, it is DMC's 40th anniversary this year, and it's also just everything moving forward, bigger and better things, new things, and one of them, the new things that we got involved, that I've been working with DMC and Antrix with is some of the categories, and one of the newest categories for DMC is the DMC Open.
Right. I think this stems from the last podcast we did too. Like we asked one question about mics.
Yo, yeah, that's right. Oh shoot. Oh, where'd he go? Oh, he's gonna come back in. We just lost Antrix. Oh, he's back.
Yeah, my
There you
bad.
Oh,
I
okay.
was moving some tabs, but
Yeah.
like I said,
Oh yeah. From the last podcast, we had a little bit of talk.
yeah. It was the topic around mics, and we're I think we're trying to define this competition, and I think we're getting a clear picture of what it is. But it was your idea to kind of let's really talk about the Open. And what it's about. So yeah, this is a good episode.
No, definitely. I think what I think about the Open is, I think DMC is trying to find, and correct me if I'm wrong at any time, but to find really the the party rocker. You know what I mean? If you're a world champion party rocker,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much to encompass everything that has to do with that. You know what I mean? And I think the one thing that one of the topics that we came up with in there was a mic. Like, should a mic be allowed in a battle, or I shouldn't say a battle, but a mixing competition.
Mm-hmm.
I only brought that up to just put that in there because it's definitely I mean, in this day and age, and back in the days, I mean, like, look, I as a party, as a DJ turntablist, I never talked on the mic for years. Like, I honestly didn't talk on the mic till really 2010, which is a long time. You know what I'm saying?
What brought you to start talking on the mic?
Well, just I mean, it was really more doing gigs with, like, when I was doing triple threat stuff with
Right.
Apollo and Vinrock and Apollo. Just seeing his, when we're doing our sets, just he taught me just greet, as at the very least greet the crowd. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Interact with your crowd. Talk to them and make them feel welcome. And the first thing I've learned when I was on the mic was, "What's up?" Whatever city you're in.
Yep.
If you get a crowd reaction, all right, yeah, cool. And just after that, don't put your foot in your mouth. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The first time
but-
I saw Triple Threat too, it was at, I think, the Moscone Center.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, you guys did that show with the Executioners.
Oh, that's
That
right. That's right.
That was hype. Yeah,
Yeah, that was
you guys-
dope. I mean, and I learned a lot off, like, for those of you who don't know, like, DJ Apollo, the original member of the Invisible Scratch Pickles. He's pretty much our Kid Capri here in the Bay Area.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I learned a lot off him of just being, from being on the mic and just, he was definitely the party rocker of the Bay, and just learning how to, connect with the crowd. So, and for me also just learning a lot from, I'm a big dancehall reggae head, you know what I mean? And watching
Right.
watching sound systems play and seeing how they connect with the crowd. It's all for them. It's all about connecting with the crowd,
Yeah, he's a DMC world champion too, and
Yep,
and he's
true.
still very relevant because of his ability to party rock, like you said. Like, even
Indeed.
when I saw you guys play as Triple Threat at that was my first time seeing you guys like rock a party like that, and I was like, whoa, I was there with a couple buddies, and I was like, wow, this is a completely different, like, Scratch Pickles experience.
Yeah, it's totally, it makes it a whole
yeah.
different show, right?
Yeah, I stole a poster off the wall. I still have that poster.
Yeah.
But I was like, that was dope.
But it's learning all that stuff early with DJ with Apollo and Triple Threat. I carry that over to doing Scratch Pickle shows because I just realized G and Q don't talk on the mic. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
one of
Yeah,
us got to
it
talk
is
and
you.
say what's up
It
to the
is
crowd.
you.
You know what I mean? And connect. So I definitely had to do that. So but like I said, that's we're gonna go through those topics for this episode because like I said, we're trying to find the world, the world champion
Mhm.
part, DJ, selector, party rocker, everything, complete package.
Yeah, now that would be probably a good time to kind of go over the DMC Open, like, rules and formats and
Yes, sir.
what it means.
Yeah, I mean,
Go ahead.
let's go to to how it works. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right. The DMC Open. The DMC Open is an open format mixing DJ competition. There. Yep. If is your music library deep enough, yes. The DMC Open World Champion must showcase a solid mixture of genres, airs, and tempos.
Yeah, we keep it very simple. We just want to see you put together a good set that connects with the crowd and the judges. Not focus too much on the technical side, but that's probably the difference about DMCs, that you're always going to have DJs thinking about the technical aspect.
Right.
But it plays into, like, the rules. If our rules are, you have that graphic. There we go. Let me see. Yeah, musicality is huge for this one. That's why we put it first, because we want DJs
selection. Selection definitely counts.
Yeah, that's huge. Even when putting together a set, you have to. That's the first step, right? Like, we were watching Puffy set, and the selection of records that he chose were very true to him. And he told a story, and I think that had to play along with, he also loved to mix in key. Those are aspects of a DJ that we're looking for. The composition and originality. Originality and composition. I don't know what you think about that, Short, but as a judge, what's your impression about composition and originality?
I mean, that's definitely everything. You know what I mean? Like, what will separate you from the
Right,
from the next DJ?
right.
I think it's definitely a key thing.
Yeah,
And
it plays into your selection too, right? Like the way you compose your set and sonically how the tempos that you're running through, right? Like
right,
you're trying to tell a story. You're trying to warm up the crowd first, keep the energy, and then just ride with them as long as you can.
yeah,
So the
definitely.
composition matters. So if there's abrupt, jumps and all that, it gets a little hard to kind of decipher. But yeah, good point. What's the other one?
Those other ones.
Technicality.
Technical. There you go.
We just talked about this on the back end, and I think when it comes to technicality, I mean, you do have to have your foundation, your mixing, cueing, scratching, all that stuff. Um, but the idea of manually genre, changing genres, changing tempos, you'll see that in Puffy's set, like in most really high quality, competitive open format DJs or mixing DJs, is that they're manually doing the mashups, the remixes. So whereas pre-production is okay, I think technically speaking, we want to see you do it. That's as
Yeah,
simple as I can say it.
yeah. I mean, like I said, it's and I think it definitely goes to why I was requesting that Puffy be on this episode, because his set, in my opinion, man, is really one of the blueprints to that all aroundness of what I look for if I was a judge, to see like just that connection, selection, everything, so. And the energy, and keeping up the energy too. Like I think when a mixing or class, the classic battle set gets a little too technical,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
kind of disconnect with the crowd. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
You don't get
Hmm.
the you don't. It's like you're kind of wrapped up in your own thing, but you're not connecting with who's in front of you. So
Yeah. What I loved about his 2016 set is, and even if you listen to his walkthrough, he talks
hmm
about kind of what's running through his head while he's
yeah,
performing, and it
right,
doesn't even look like he's tripping about all those things. Technically speaking, he's thinking about all the switches and
right,
triggering all these things. But you can't tell on the outside. He's just kind of jumping around and having fun. So as much as it looks like he's just kind of waving his hands, he's actually, he's thinking a lot throughout that entire process, and that kind of showmanship. And I always felt like DJs that looked really comfortable have a better sense of what they're doing up there.
hmm
And that's kind of a standout. At least in my mind, I'm not really a qualified judge, but in my mind, I see it as they know what they're doing.
right.
Um,
The confidence shows,
right,
and
right,
then especially when you're connecting with the crowd will
yeah.
besides
Snake
the
Eyes said,
DJs knowing what time it is, the crowd could also feed off that energy, So
right, right, yeah. Snake Eyes said something that kind of mixes with the final part of the judging process is crowd engagement.
yep, yep.
What I want to see or hear is bangers from whatever country the DJs are from, rep your city.
Mm,
I 100% think that's a key element, really like connecting with your music selection to the crowd that you're representing in. And
right.
no other person could have done that better in his set than Puffy. He knew the kind of music that, being from Barbados, having to go to
But
Chile,
yeah,
what do you pick from, what's your mindset
and that's all.
about what music you're going to use.
And
So
then that's also doing your homework, right? Like you're like, I'm being Chile. What's the big song in Chile? Or like, what can I
yeah,
do to connect with this crowd? You know what I mean?
yeah. And
And
oh, go ahead.
I was just about to say, like, just like being that we're gonna be in Japan this year, like, that's another
Yeah.
thing I suggest for all the DJs who do plan to join the Open this year, is like, what can
What
you
do you
do in
play?
Japan that'll, you
Yeah.
know,
What do you play? When you go to Japan, what do you play? I mean, you obviously have a set crowd, but in terms of what do you think you would work in Japan?
well, I always do my homework on who definitely who I'm playing with, and I'll watch it. If there's videos of the other DJs that
Right.
of those DJs that I'm playing with, I'll watch their sets and kind of, okay, so that's what hits out there, kind of thing, and
Yeah. Yeah. That's
you know,
important. Yeah, I think with that's why it's so tough to run the Open online because what you're doing is just trying to appeal to the judges,
Right.
um, and show your technical ability. But that's why the live aspect of the Open too is very
Support.
important.
Oh,
Yeah,
so important.
so
Definitely
important.
important.
Yeah, and being in another country, like the idea of using a mic to try and speak to the crowd, like it wouldn't
Yeah.
hurt to learn a little Japanese,
Yeah, that's
just
what I'm
to
saying
say
too.
what's up. So
What I learned, like the most standard thing that I learned in going to different countries, man, is just to at least know how to say hello in their language.
yeah.
Like,
Oh,
you know what I mean?
you at
Like,
least say
fuck
yo.
is- huh?
You said you had to at least say yo.
No, hello.
Oh, hello, hello.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
What's
just to
the
say hello.
informal way of saying hello in Japanese, you think?
Oh man, I mean, of course, everyone knows what hello means, right? So at least,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but I think it's a lot of homework for sure. So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Japan is going to be it's going to be a true testament to the Open because the DJs are going to be outside of the Japanese national champions. If you don't have experience with a foreign speaking country,
yeah, no,
it's
true.
really going to be about your selection process. So,
Yeah.
gonna
Oh
check that.
man, I'm hyped just talking about this, bro. It's gonna be we've been we definitely working on on a lot of the stuff that goes around the Open, and this year's gonna be different. I think.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and we brought. I mean, there's a ton of people we can talk to about this, but the idea of being able to talk to Puffy, who we've talked through several different examples of a champion that we're looking for.
Mm,
We ran through the names, and Puffy always comes out on top. In terms of
yeah.
his, yeah, it's just one of those guys that comes in and kills it and doesn't have to do anymore and just cements it.
Yeah.
I think even in his set, he did some wordplay about this is the only time he's going to do it. I can't remember. I remember it was part of his set. There was some wordplay that he said that this is the only time I do it. I'm going to kill it. I can't remember the exact words, but he killed it on so many levels
Yeah.
in that set. And man,
And it was definitely like a journey, right? Yeah, like that
right,
had, and then but just the way he moved through the set was just, and then to watch the walkthrough too. For those of you who haven't seen the room, the what we're talking about, go on YouTube and definitely check out his winning set, which I think we should probably play a little bit, maybe I don't know, or
yeah.
but we got. Oh, I don't know. What do you think?
How you feel? You want
I
to
don't
play it?
know.
Or do you want to go straight into?
I kind of want to go straight into it because we got the man waiting in the room. Can we bring him in? What do you think?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go ahead and
Yeah.
intro it. Let's get him
All
in.
right. Well, table talk crew, chat room. Put some if you got the emotes, put the lighters up in the room one time for our man DJ Puffy, y'all. What up? What up?
Yo,
How you doing,
yo,
brother?
yo, yo. Good, man. What's up, chat? See y'all warm in here already.
Yes, sir. Man, thank you, man. Thank you so much for joining us, brother. I really, really appreciate this. And I think I couldn't, like I was telling Antrix, I couldn't think of another person better than you, really, to really talk about this. The way that the DJing is going, and like how just I don't know. There's so many ways. I mean, I don't even know where to start because I could pick your brain in so many different ways of how DJ sets are being made now, and what makes a dope DJ set, what makes a dope DJ, but like I said, just on my drive from LA to San Francisco last night, I was watching your set and I was like, damn, there's so many different ways to go about it, and like, man,
Word.
it's like I said, man, really a good excellent blueprint for any DJ who wants to enter a mixing competition, so I
Appreciate
definitely want to
it.
get your take on it, so
Yeah. I mean, y'all reminded me of so much before we came in here when you were talking about the walkthrough, and I was like, yo, you know what? Maybe I should share that video again because obviously there's so many more people, or so much more people who have kind of joined the journey now, as opposed to 9 years ago when I would have done the three style, So
yes,
yeah,
sir.
we need to share that again. I see Ramon G from Barbados is in the chat now too.
Yeah, pick up the whole Barbados crew in here. We
But
see
yeah,
y'all.
this open category in DMC is really great, and of course now it kind of fills the void that has been missing for such a long time in terms of DJ competitions, you know. So I'm kind of glad to see the DMCs focusing on mixing and party rocking again, and really trying to provide a platform for people. Because don't forget, that's what DJing is, right? Like
Absolutely.
not everybody's gonna be super technical or be able to do a 2 or 3 click flare. Like,
Yes,
you
I
know,
agree.
some people just want to play music, and
Mhm.
a lot of the time that's what it is. It's entertainment. We're entertaining people through playing not just our own music but other people's
Exactly.
music. So,
Exactly.
you know, that's great that DMC has now created an open category. Yes, Quest Antigua's in the building right now for DJs to enter, and it's focused on a lot more than just technical ability.
Correct. And then, I'm curious about your background too. Like in coming into competition is a big step for you, but it felt like you came in with already enough skill to just take over. So in terms of your background, so tell me if you can give me a little synopsis of your background. When did you start DJing? What was some of the
Yeah.
influence and all that?
Okay, so
Where
I've
what
been
brought you to
DJing
freestyle?
like half my life now. So that's what, 17 years,
Wow.
16 years, not 17 yet, 16 and a half. Yeah, I started on virtual DJ, believe it or not. And I
Wow.
kind of just went backwards. Yeah. So
Oh wow.
yeah, the first time I tried to DJ was on virtual DJ on my laptop. And then I started messing around. Then I got into it. I got heavily invested into it. And I was like, hey, man, let me learn how to do something else. And what did I do? After that, I think I bought 2 CDJs from one of my dad's best friends, and a Behringer mixer off of Amazon. And I started to learn how to play CDs, and I was burning all my CDs. So I learned to mix properly on CDs.
Jeez.
Wow.
I had the CDJ 200s, the one with the blue light. Y'all remember? You can scratch on those.
Yeah, it stutters like that.
Yeah,
Like
you
it,
can scratch on those at all.
yeah.
So yeah, I learned that way, and then I didn't have Serato yet, and then I think after that was when I went to I started working like on the radio, and that's when the NS7 was out.
Mhm.
Oh.
Then I had like 3 pairs of NS7s. We had one in the radio station, and then I learned how to use CDJs, and then I went backwards because I was like, okay, yo, if I'm taking this DJ thing seriously, and I'm super summarizing here for y'all right now.
Yeah, of course.
I was like, yeah, if I'm taking this DJ thing seriously, then I gotta learn how to use what all the pro DJs are using.
Mhm.
So then I was like, okay, cool. Well, let me try to learn this Serato thing and learn how to use turntables.
Wow.
So I borrowed a pair of turntables from a friend of mine here. And then I ended up buying them. And then after that, I actually went on a mission to buy all the Technics in the country. So at one point, I had like 4 pairs of Technics just in my room. And yeah, I learned how to use Serato and learn how to use vinyl and mix on Serato. And I bought the DJM 900 mixer at the time. And then that would have been what I would have used in my submission video for the 3 Style in 2016.
Mm.
And yeah, all that time I was on radio. So I was working on radio in Barbados from the age of probably like 15, 16 up until I was like 18, 20 or 20, let me see, 16, 17, probably like 20, 21 or so, 22. I did 6 years on radio before I left the station to focus on touring as a DJ full time.
My God, who were some of your influences during the radio station time? Like, I mean,
Man, so I told somebody this story recently and they could not believe it. I was heavily influenced by New York radio, you know.
Oh, okay.
So Flex,
Makes sense.
Camilo,
Camilo,
Cast
yeah.
One, Pro
Yeah.
Style, Voila, Nori,
Yeah.
Wow.
NV,
Yeah.
Clue.
Damn, New York radio. There you
Straight
go.
New York radio, yeah.
Yeah, I think, and a couple people had mixed shows, so like, I would listen to like Fat Fingers sometimes.
Oh, okay. Shout out to Fat Fingers.
Yeah, man. Enough obviously was there. Mr. C was on radio at the time, still rest in peace. Yeah, so many New York DJs between Hot 97 and Power 105. Huge inspirations in terms of being influenced on from them. And
Nice.
obviously we had the goats of Caribbean radio, the Scratch Masters, Simply Smooth, Rodney Fireball King. There were so many Caribbean people who were also major in the time in the region and doing really well. But yeah, man, a lot of people didn't know that I was heavily influenced by New York radio.
That's dope. That's
Yeah.
dope. And you adopted it for the Caribbean with your Caribbean style.
Absolutely,
Oh my God.
absolutely. And I think even when I would always listen to and be inspired by the power that the radio DJ had coming up in that era. Like there are few DJs who came up around that time that don't recall when Flex first played Otis on the radio.
Uh,
Like,
History.
yo, if you buy a convenience Bottega right now, put your hand in the cash register, and like, you know what I mean? Like, everybody can remember that. And you hearing the bombs dropping, and I invented swag, wheeling it up from there, bomb drop again, and you're like, yo, when are you gonna play this song? Like, everybody want to hear this song. Exactly. There are people in the chat that know.
yeah.
And
Pull up after pull up.
Twitter would go off. Everybody would just be tweeting about, yo, Flex got new this, da 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 da. Flex dropping bombs right now, da da da. And I took that. I was like, yo, I want to be that for the Caribbean.
Sick.
And after that song, or after Flex dropped that record, was like, oh yeah, like everybody else would try to play that song. So then I took it upon myself to make my radio shift that. I was like, yo, I want to be the person that when I play something first, everybody else won't play it after that.
What era was it, or what years was this around?
This was like 2016, 2015.
Oh my God.
Around there, yeah.
Oh shit.
So bit recent.
Let me mute that. My bad.
No problem.
2016, 2017, and someone asked in the chat, like, how did you get into touring?
Man, eventually I started getting booked for like performances and parties in the region in the Caribbean. And it started picking up a lot, where to the point where like I was falling out with my boss on the radio because I was like, yo, can I get the weekend off to go to Antigua? Yo, can I get the weekend off to go to Jamaica? Like, I want. And he's like, yo, Puffy, like you're on salary, like you can't be dipping out all the time like this, And I started having to decline gigs, to turn down gigs, because I was just committed to the radio. I was on radio 6 days a week.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
I'm going to school.
I'm going to school. Damn, how old were you when you were on the radio?
I was in university, so I was like early 20s.
Oh man, dude.
Yeah,
So do you think the radio?
I started radio in high school, and then when I graduated high school, I went into university. I continued.
Wow. And then what led to Three Style? Was that your first battle, or did you do some like?
So shout out to DJ Trays. I met Trays. Trays was on vacation with his wife in Barbados, and he reached out to me on, I think it was on Twitter, and we spoke in the DM. And he was like, yo, we'll be good to connect, good to link up, whatever. I was like, yeah, cool, no problem. At the time, I didn't have a driver's license. My mom drove me to meet Trays, down in the car park of the hotel that he was staying at. And then we kind of just I just kind of took him around the island.
Nice.
And then I had to work on the radio station that evening. So he came in the radio station with me, and he saw me during my shift or whatever. He was in the studio while I was doing my shift. And he was like, yo, bro, like you should enter Three Style. And I was like, okay, nah. I am nowhere I am not on that level at all. Like I did not believe that I was capable of competing at that level. And previous to Freestyle, I've never entered a DJ competition or even thought about it.
Wow.
Wow.
So Freestyle was actually my first DJ competition ever.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
And
I
took
don't
it.
know.
So yeah, after he said that, and this could have been like 2014 or 15, probably maybe 14.
Yeah.
After he said that, it was just always in my mind, and obviously like I was following it because he was competing and stuff, so I would always like learn more about it every time there was a national final or something and it was streamed online or the sets would be posted online, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then in 2016 is when they changed the rule for the wild card entry.
Oh, how did that work? How did the wildcard entry work?
So before, I think previous to that, they did it in conjunction with Mixcloud, where you uploaded the audio.
Oh.
But
Oh, wow.
2016, I think, was the first time that they opened the wild card entries to people who didn't have, or regions or countries that didn't have a national final.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So-
typically how it works.
Right. So, in the USA, there will be a New York final, West Coast final,
Yeah.
East
Right.
Coast final, West Coast final, and then you compete for the national, and then boom. The wild card category, they kind of changed the rule to be like, yo, if your country is not represented in Freestyle, you're eligible to record a video and submit it to us. It was 5 minutes. And we would choose 3 people out of all these submissions to throw straight into the world final.
Oh, wow. 3
Wow.
people?
Yeah.
Red Bull pocket.
so
dope.
yeah. I was one of them. I think Ches from Spain was another. Can't remember the third right now in my year.
But that's a good kind of like segue to like the Open, right? Like the
Yes.
Open, it's what we're looking to do is really kind of define we're really trying to find newer DJs that haven't been interfaced with even with the DMC platform. And guys like you who, I mean, that's amazing. Your first time out and you win
Oh, yeah.
2016.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Like, that's amazing. I don't know. That's crazy. But like for the Open, your approach, I'm curious about your approach to entering a competition, from going from radio and you're like, okay, I'm going to try this Red Bull 3 style. How did you approach competing let's say in Chile, a completely different country and all that?
Well, for me, I saw it as an opportunity because I think at the time I felt like I kind of hit a plateau at the time in my career. And, I was kind of at the point where I had the opportunity to tour, but there was still a door that was kind of closed, like in terms of like touring in the US or being a little bit more global. So I looked at it as a way for me to, okay, maybe I need to become better. Maybe I wasn't good enough. Maybe I wasn't prepared. So the opportunity to enter Freestyle, I didn't really look at it as, all right, yo, I'm gonna win this competition and I'm gonna be the biggest thing in the world. I looked at it from the approach where, okay, if it's 24 DJs here, if I'm amongst the top 23 DJs in the world, plus all the legends, this is an opportunity for me to learn from all of them and apply everything that I learned to my career, my business, my craft, so that it can make me into the DJ that I would love to be.
Beautiful.
So I didn't necessarily go to win. I mean, obviously it's a competition, so you gotta compete, and I'm very competitive, but I just wanted to be there and to experience that and to learn from everybody that was there.
I think that's across the board for a lot of battle DJs. It's more about the experience, right?
Yeah,
in terms of being there.
Because that experience alone, like, that's a price. You can't pay money for that,
Yeah, that's true. That's 100% true. I was there just as a photographer and videographer. I wasn't even there as
Exactly.
DJ.
You go. Imagine you go there. You sitting down. You having breakfast. Jazzy Jeff sitting down right there. Craze is there. Mix Master Mike is there. You know what I mean? Like all these people there, and you could just once you have the courage, you could go there and say, "Yo, excuse me, what do you think about so and so?" Or it's a pleasure to meet you. Da 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 da. Just to sit down and be a fly on the wall and hear them talk about things. That's inspiring. That's inspiring.
Yeah.
And I mean, every time I get around these people, every time I have the opportunity to be around them, Z Trip, you know what I mean? Like to hear them speak and hear them share stories with each other. That in itself is inspiring, and that's something that when you apply it to yourself and it hits you in your heart, then it could catapult you into the next phase of your whole career. Mindset is very important.
That's a great way to look at it. I think that's
So inspiring, man.
Yeah, because you're putting yourself out there. You're competing. There is the prize to win, but you're looking at more of the feedback and the connections that you're going to create on the way to that platform. So definitely, man, that's crazy. There were some questions in the chat. I don't know if you guys want to address those, but
let me see. I see
the
somebody
shortcut and
says
Puffy.
here. What do you think of reusing material from elimination round videos and final routine? Like if a DJ used 3-minute open elimination material in 12-minute open final, or a 2-minute classic elimination in a 6-minute final routine, or would you like to see fresh routines? That's interesting. That's a very interesting question, because I feel like in my final there were people who definitely did their sets before. And I don't really have a as a judge, I'm not sure. Me personally, and I'll give you two approaches. Me personally, I did not expect to make it to the final. So I went with one set, right?
Oh, okay.
So the only set that I had was the one that I did for my qualifying round.
Wow.
And then I had to so my approach to DJing is really different. Whereas obviously there are signature things that every performer does.
Right.
Chris Brown will always perform Loyal and Run It and his classic songs. There are routines that Shortcut will always perform because he's known for that.
Right.
I would always play Charlie Black's Party Animal because that's what people enjoy. That was one of the first records in my 3-style set, in my winning set, and I will always try to do something with that song. But I also believe that every moment is so unique. Every performance is so unique, and I always try to prepare something unique and have organic moments within my performances when I'm performing. So do I think it should be one or the other? No. Can you reuse material? I don't see a problem with it. Should you add a new flair? Could you find a way to flip it and make it unique for that particular round? You absolutely can. If I've seen you the round before and you flip your routine and done the same routine or use the same song in a different way, I think for me as a judge, that might even be more points, because it's like, he did this, but he did it in a different way today.
Switch it up. Yep.
Yeah, and that's also the reality, and that's part of being a DJ. Being able to adapt, being able to kind of be spontaneous or to be flexible like water and be able to fit into any bowl that you're put into. So, yeah.
Nice. Sure. What do you think? Like as a judge, because Short is a official judge this year for the Open, and he's kind of been there for the beginning of it. What are your thoughts on people, seeing a set that was online? And then
I'll tell you that. So I'm reading Snake Eye's comment. He says, "I hate seeing same routines that they did in their elimination round, in their final round." You know what? I mean, I'm not totally against it. I think if it's, I agree with Puffy. If it's used in a different way, where like there's certain songs or certain, maybe patented mixes that you do that people know you for, or that that is signature to yourself. Like, I think it's I don't know. I think it's also the moment too.
Yeah. To play devil's advocate, So, for instance, if you suppose your elimination round was the day before, right?
Mm.
So on Friday night at a different venue, you did X routine.
Mhm.
On Saturday is now the final, and you now perform at a different venue for a different crowd. And I'm the same judge. I judge you both ways.
Yep.
I judge you both nights. However, for the different crowd, the same routine
Yep.
got a huge reaction.
Right.
Yep.
I have to give you points for crowd reaction. I can't give you 10 out of 10, or I can't give you 8 out of 10 because the crowd was here on Friday, and then on Saturday the crowd goes here. I can't not give you more. I can't
Right.
not give you 9 or 10 because visually, audibly, physically, everybody
Yeah.
can see that the reaction has materialized into something greater than it was the night before.
Right.
So, in all fairness, as a judge, I have to give you more points for crowd response. Even if you did the same routine.
Right. Wow, that's crazy. Do you think, like even when you're
Is
doing
that not
sets?
fair? Is that not fair?
No, I think it's fair because the crowd engagement is a huge thing. I at least think because in the open it's more about that. It's really about how you connect with the crowd and how you get there. I don't know. I mean, doubling up routines. Yeah,
You know what? I think from what I'm reading from the one comment from Snake Eyes, when he's saying seeing a same routine in the elimination round done in the final round.
Yeah.
I think that's maybe more towards the classic category. You
Yeah,
understand
fair.
what I'm saying? Because in
Technical.
something like the Open or like a mixing competition,
Yeah.
Puffy just nailed it. He said like everything that it's different from one night. What you do in one night will be totally different the next night, right?
Correct.
Just the crowd reaction, everything. That's whole. And I think that's definitely on I guess on a mixing selection point of view.
Yeah.
But with maybe on like a routine thing where I'll give you another example. In the early if you watch any of the late '80s, early '90s DMC classic routines, there were there's a 2-minute routine for the eliminations. Then if you make it to the worlds, it's 6 minutes, right? There was a lot of DJs back then who did purely the same set what they did in their elimination in the so but I think it's different
Snake
in a
Eyes is
mixing
talking about
competition.
he said in classic is what he's talking about.
Ah, okay.
We're mostly talking about open here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Open's a definitely a different thing, and that's
Open
why
is not- I mean, classic is not my category.
that's why I think selective point of view. Yeah, exactly.
Well, how I guess in the hierarchy of things when you're judging a battle, what is your hierarchy in terms of what you're looking for? We have our judging criteria, which is it starts with musicality. That's your selection, and then it ends with crowd engagement. And I think even in your set, what I loved about watching your walkthrough, you mentioned in the first 5 to 10 minutes of your set, you nailed the format. You said, okay, 3 styles. I'll do 3 styles. I'll do a juggle here. I'll tell a story I love how you said that your wordplay is like dominoes. You really put some cerebral part into it, which doesn't really show on camera because it looks like you're having fun. The amount of thinking you were doing was like, wow, like but at the same time you were masking that with your energy. In terms of a judge, if you're judging a mixing competition, what do you think is the criteria for you from top to bottom?
Definitely musicality, song selection.
Yeah.
Because I mean that's the body of everything, right? That is the body of the performance. That's the foundation, what you're playing. And then we go into how you play it, composition, and how you uniquely present those records. So what's that? Originality, right?
Yeah.
And then you telling your story in that way, because everybody is different. Everybody has a different way of doing things. Between the 3 of us, you could give 3 of us the same records and we play them in a different way. All 3 of us, it will be played differently. And I think I want to see how you work with what you play. After that, I think I want to see how the crowd reacts to that. And then I get to how technical you are.
Beautiful.
Because for me, we are there to perform. And I'm speaking of the party rocking aspect of DJing here. I am hired to entertain people. All right. And the basis of my performance is to entertain who's in front of me. So how what I'm doing is affecting my audience is really important. And then we get into how technical you are, the skills that you use, scratching, beat juggling, blah, 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 blah.
Amen. I think even when you did the walkthrough, you were like talking about how you said you're not the greatest at beat juggling, but you want to show that you can get it done.
That you can do it. Yeah.
Yeah, you can do it. Like show that you can get busy on that. I think
within the mix, right?
Yeah. That was huge. And then also the like dub plate that you got. Like that was a different, I was telling Short, like pulling that out is like a different style of DJ battling. Like, the sound system shit, pulling out a dub plate is a big deal.
Well, I mean, Shortcut knows about this.
Yeah.
Through and through. But I mean, I'm from the Caribbean, right? So that originality for me not to play a dub plate would not be me being true to myself.
Yeah.
I have to play a dub because that's Caribbean culture, That is dancehall, reggae, now soca. That is rooted in Caribbean culture. If you could play a song and the artist call your name in a song, it means way more than you just playing the original song. Because
a big tune like Rupee for all songs,
It means you either have a close connection with that artist, which people respect, or it means you got money that you could go to the artist and say, yo, here is this amount of money. Go in the studio and record this and specifically call out my name to big me up in the dance.
Wow.
And that is Caribbean culture,
Here's a question. We were for the Open, we asked the question about using a mic for a mixing competition. If you were to have the ability or the green light to use a mic in Chile, do you think you would have used it, or do you think you would have stayed silent?
That's a really interesting question. I honestly, if you came to me and said, yo, you could go back in time, but this time use a mic, I don't know, man. Because I mean, the stars kind of align how they align, and that was the result, and I'm completely fine with that, obviously. But I think being able to use a mic in a performance is definitely a plus. And I think in some way, maybe it would have gotten me more points for crowd participation or whatever. I definitely, Shortcut knows, and you guys know I'm heavy on the mic in my performance. Obviously, because of my background. I love to get people involved. It probably would have allowed me to feel a little bit more comfortable with the approach to my performance, because it would have been closer to what I would have been doing it every day. But yeah, that's a really interesting question.
Yeah, because it was a hot topic.
Yeah. Can you use the mic in the DMC?
We haven't necessarily ruled it out. Because the rules are any DJ equipment, so you can't use a saxophone. It's not a DJ equipment.
It's not DJ equipment.
Yeah. But a mic is part of a rig setup. What you have up there. Controller is part of it. But it was a hot topic when we kind of brought it up in our last podcast, because the idea of, because we're going to be in Tokyo this year. And the translation. I mean, were you there for Tokyo? That was 2015, right? I can't remember. 2015.
I wasn't at the final, but we did regional final, or we did a Japan final that I judged.
You judged. How would you approach? Like if, let's say you're a competitor coming in.
I probably DJed that night. I can't even remember if I DJed that night. But I've used the mic in most of them, and we've had flip out MC and
Yeah.
like for most of them.
What was your experience like playing in Japan?
I love playing in Japan. I play every year
Oh,
in
okay.
Japan. Yeah.
You about to do the Mighty Crown cruise this year, yeah?
Yeah, man. Mighty Crown doing their cruise this year. Incredible experience for our East Reggae cruise. Big up
Yeah.
Mighty Crown. But I mean, I think being a touring DJ and using the mic is necessary. I heard y'all speaking about it before, and the least you could do is greet the crowd. Say, yo,
Yeah.
what's up? Japan, find out how to say hello, Ohio, konnichiwa,
Ohio.
whatever, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
whatever it is, wherever you are, just greet the crowd, introduce yourself,
Hmm.
and figure it out from there. If you could find out how to say it, put your hands in the air, that helps. If you could find out how to say it, wave your hands like this or make some noise, that helps.
Yeah.
You know, like, but I see Snake Eyes, he says sometimes the mic will ruin you. A word of advice from somebody or from two people who have been super influential in my career, Scratch Master and Simply Smooth. They always say it's not what you do, but it's how you do it.
Mm.
So
Right.
yeah, you can use the mic, but you know, be mindful of how you do it. And there's
Yeah.
absolutely nothing wrong with, again, what you guys would have said earlier. Just
Yeah.
say hello, introduce yourself. Everybody's not a talker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there was
Yeah, and
definitely a bit of debate of you know, when there was a post on IG that was put up about, you know, should mics be allowed
Mhm.
in a mixing competition, especially, you know, like it's you know, we're trying to find that party rock, you know, the world champion party rocker, right? Should
Again,
that-
people are not dancing to your voice; they're dancing to the music, right?
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, just keep that in mind.
Mm.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah, I love it, man. Like, you know, one of the things I loved about your set too is your storytelling ability. Like when you think about putting together a mixing competition set, it actually is very technical,
Yeah.
cerebrally. You know, when you think about like the amount of stuff that you can do. So technically speaking, it is pretty complex. You know,
Mhm.
I love how you started your routine with wordplay to kind of warm up the crowd. And you continue that throughout the entire set, but at the same time, you knew like towards the middle, like this is kind of the time to have fun.
Yeah.
It's, you know, get the point across that you know the format. And I think we that's why we cut our eliminations to 3 minutes, because if in 3 minutes, if you can't hit a format, then I don't think you're gonna hit it at all.
Yeah.
You know, so we have a 12-minute or 15-minute final, but much like you did in your set, you hit that really early on and just said, for the rest of the set, I'm just gonna
Party
try and
time,
ride
yeah.
the crowd. Yeah, just have some fun. And I love that part of it. And what do you think is I guess harder? Is building a technical mix or building a more like memorable one? Like, because yours was memorable in a lot of different ways, to where I think not too many people caught the technical side of things, like when you were changing the tempos. That was, you know, to you that was the hardest thing, but no one's
Yeah.
really paying attention to that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the questions we kind of had was what do you think is harder? Is building something that's a bit more technical or a bit more memorable?
I think the hardest thing is maybe finding that particular sweet spot between both of them, like between the two. I've witnessed a lot of DJs have memorable sets that weren't necessarily very technical. And this is like when we were touring, judging the three style. Like I remember that year that Rena won her final. This is in Japan.
Yeah. Well, that was a
She
fun one.
was not necessarily the most technical DJ competing that night,
Yeah.
but what she did was very memorable. And I think it calls for you to find the way that you uniquely express yourself through your craft.
Beautiful.
You know, how does Shortcut say, hey, I'm Shortcut and this is what I'm about, through what it is he's doing? And I just think that when you do that and stay true to yourself within the performance, it becomes memorable automatically. You know, yeah, nobody can do you better than you. You know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that you stay true to your Caribbean
Yeah.
roots, even
So
in Chile.
so I think mm, it would be more difficult to do something that you are not very comfortable doing.
Mhm.
So to bring it full circle, if I'm super technical, maybe I can find a way to allow my technicality to translate to be something memorable. You don't think?
Yeah,
And this is
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
like I'm literally like on picking my brain live. Like if I'm known to be a technical DJ, how it is that I can't allow that or allow people to connect with that if that is what I'm about. I
very
don't know,
true.
man.
No, it's a deep question because it's
Yeah,
hard to
it
kind of
is.
balance that
I'm sorry, I
technicality.
feel like Aristotle now. Like
Play same playlist that you already heard some of those. I think with the Open, what do you think is the modern party rocking DJ these days? I mean, it's changed through the years since the three style has been gone. The DMC version of it, I think, to me, and this is just my opinion, is a lot of the stuff that you were doing uh could have been pre-produced, but you were manually doing it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
You were
yeah.
manually doing the mashups, you were manually doing the tempo shifts, and
Chips. Yeah.
yeah, our judging, our what do you call it, our criteria is how well you play with genre eras and tempos, and I think a lot of that is manually doing it so that you preserve the DJ aspect of it.
Yeah.
So what do you think is do you have any ideas of DJs that may shape the modern? If they're if you were to shape a DMC Open champion, what would that look like? What kind of DJ would that be?
Yeah. What criteria would you look for?
I want to see. I would be very interested in seeing you do something that I haven't seen before.
Musically or technically?
Anyway, Lee.
Anyway.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, like do something cool in a way that be revolutionary in a sense. Like say,
Yeah.
yo, how can I do this differently? And really think about that.
Yeah.
Really think about that. The some of the most influential people in terms of the three star, they or in terms of DJ competition, they created something. Look at Zach with the tone play.
Yeah, the tone play. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to bring up. Yeah.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
still everybody still to this day know that TikTok is now coming in. It's like the revolutionary whole, like they come and refresh the whole everybody learned what the word transition means now, right?
Mhm.
Oh, look at this transition.
It is. It's kind of nice. I mean, it was not nice, but I'm saying like I felt like the new type of turntablism or DJing has really become simplified in that
Yeah.
way because of social media. And maybe it's a good thing, but maybe it's a bad thing because some of us feel like that's so elementary, but at the same time, it's reintroducing mixing to the masses on a like you started on very humble equipment. And a lot of these kids have to start on humble equipment. They have to work backwards. I kind of work backwards too, because I started with really humble, humble Gemini and some pretty trashy Newmarks. So I 100% identify with that. But yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I think another thing that would be kind of cool is just like, again, I think it all goes back to playing things in a way or presenting the songs in a way that's unique.
Right.
Be like, yo, I've heard this song or I know this song, but I never heard it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the tools that we have was with stems and all this, you could everybody could have the same songs, records, but the way you play it could be totally different now, right? So
Yeah, that's huge. Like, how would you approach playing in Japan as a competitor? I mean, you're not playing for you. I mean, you're playing. I mean, what you did in Chile, you played for you in sticking with your style.
Yeah, but
sticking with your energy.
There were still songs in my set that particularly appeal to Latin crowds, right?
Right. Yeah, you
So
did your
you know,
homework on the selection side.
and that's just part of being a touring DJ, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
when you go to different places, look at the charts, look at the Apple listings. Yo, what's the number one song in this place? All right, cool. You go on Shazam. Yo, what's the biggest song over here? On TikTok, what are people creating? What sounds are people using on TikTok
Mm-hmm.
in this
Oh,
territory?
crazy. Do
And
you
be
think?
like, all right, cool. I'm gonna take this and flip it. And I've done that in all my performances when I tour.
Wow. Someone asked you is how did you learn to scratch with both hands?
Just YouTube
Oh,
and practice. YouTube and practice and YouTube.
nice.
Obviously, you know, we will always have a stronger hand. You know,
Yeah.
I am right-handed. But then there was one point where I kind of just got really frustrated. And then there are also certain scratches that I can do on the left side that I can't do on the right side. So I just exactly. So for instance, I transform really well on the left side. And yeah, like it just how my cerebral whatever it is works. So I just practiced it so much on the left side that now it sounds better on that side than it does on the other side. So I mean, what we're doing is all muscle memory, you know. So
Yeah.
just there's
Indeed.
nothing, there's absolutely nothing that takes away from practice, study and practice.
Yeah, and going back to your experience as a touring DJ, and even in Chile, and even with the people that are preparing for the DMC Open this year, you know, one of the questions that Shortcut brought up is what do you do if your set doesn't hit the crowd? Like, how do you handle that
Yeah.
mentally? Like, what do you keep the same energy knowing that the crowd doesn't care, or and you accept that you picked the wrong songs, or how would you overcome that?
A lot of it is research. A lot of it boils down to research. Yes, there are times where I've been super prepared and then what I planned doesn't necessarily translate. However, music is a universal language, right?
Yes.
And we all know that there are certain songs that are popular globally.
Correct.
Ain't nothing wrong for reaching for one of those songs to put you back on the rails, you know?
Yes. Yep.
You know, I some people might frown against it, but guess what? If you're DJing for 15 minutes, and this is to the competitors specifically, if your set is 15 minutes and you need 30, 45 seconds, 2 records to put you back on the rails, by all means, go for it, you know, bro. Like,
I agree.
you know, DMX Party Up can save you sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta have a secret crate.
Those universally global records, man. You know?
There are universal global records that shout out to Kenny Matt. Red Hot Chili Peppers Can't Stop.
Yeah.
can bring you back to earth sometimes, you know.
Sir.
And then
Agreed.
from there, but it's all about, okay, cool. I did something that was cool. All right, we got them now.
Yeah.
Let me get back to where it was I was trying to go. You know?
Wow.
So yeah, man. It's a balancing out. It's a balancing out, man.
Yes.
It's a balancing out. And 30, 45 seconds of reeling people back onto this journey with you is not gonna hurt you. Especially if you're being judged on crowd response. It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Open is such a unique format, you know what I mean? Because people think it's not technical, it's just party rocking, and it's like, nah, this is a whole new science of DJing that I think is the traditional style of DJing, really. You know, you learned it from the radio background, and you learned it from, you know, turntablism is an elevated technical aspect of DJing, but what you're really in is what you're really doing is dialing on your your foundation of just being a straight DJ, and it doesn't take certain type of equipment to be that. Like
Right.
you coming in 2016 off the back of that type of equipment and taking it is an amazing thing to hear. What I guess my next question is how valuable do you think that experience has been for you after winning? Like, how valuable has battling been for your career? We know why you went in there, because you felt like you hit a plateau. Do you think that it's elevated it by being a part of it?
Freestyle changed my life, man.
Wow. Beautiful.
Absolutely. I don't know where I would be without that moment. I can't tell you if we would, or maybe I wouldn't even be here sitting down talking to y'all today without the stars aligning in that way. So freestyle changed my life, and it also allowed me to tell the story of so many people from this region.
Yeah, you have like 400,000
to
followers.
Shine the light, shine the light on how much talent we have.
Yeah.
What is required as Caribbean DJs? Because let me tell you, to perform for people in this region, Shortcut,
Oh, I know.
it takes a different caliber individual,
Yes, sir. I was telling Antrix this. I think it's you guys have such a advantage as there's not I think just in your culture alone, it's nothing but pure vibes with the crowd every time, and
Yeah.
I think and there's a lot of DJs who just who mix for a crowd and do parties and do clubs who just don't talk on the mic or connect with the crowd, or don't think that's even a requirement, But I think as naturally as a DJ from the Caribbean, you guys just do that,
and that's because
organically.
From this region, as a DJ, you don't just have to perform, but you have to penetrate. There's a when people come to events in this region, they come with a wall up like this, and you have to find a way to get through that wall.
Yeah.
In America or in other places in different parts of the world, people leave home with the intentions of having the best time ever, and it doesn't necessarily matter how good the person is. It's just, we going out and we turning up.
Yeah.
You could be a bedroom DJ who would be a 5, 6 out of 10, or you could be world champion, whoever.
Wow.
It's going to be a good time for them. In the Caribbean, let me tell you something, boss. If you don't penetrate that wall, people stand up looking at you like this.
I'd love to see that.
Listen. Come on a trip to Barbados. I can show you.
Yeah, I'm about to throw a DJ battle in Barbados just to see that.
Boy.
DMC Barbados.
But getting back to the point I was trying to prove earlier, it was just like, it was an opportunity to showcase the talent that we have in the region, and giving people also, and I realized this after, it gave people a chance to realize what I'm doing is not in vain. I can make a career, money. I can feed my family off of this. I can take this further than just my bedroom or the local bar or the local club or the local radio station. I can take this and show my parents that this is something that people love and respect. I can show my peers that this career is something that isn't just necessarily a hobby, but it is impactful in a way that now we can eat and live comfortably off of it. And I'm still doing that,
Beautiful.
But yeah, the freestyle allowed me to do so much and to shed light on so much. And I only realized that after the fact.
Mm.
You know, it was like, yo, it's just so much more. It's bigger. It was bigger than me.
Yeah.
It was bigger than me.
You feel that because of the people that were there, right? Like you were going there to be in front of, Jazzy Jeff, Z Trip, Newmark,
Mhm.
like you said, be amongst your peers, be able to engage with that. I think that's the overall thing about competitions. Even when I was battling, it was more about showing my peers within my community that I'm here too. Like I'm here to do some shit, and let's not collaborate, but let's battle and give me some feedback on how I can get better than you. For the most part. But I love it, and for people entering the DMC Open this year, they have to enter online, right?
Yeah.
That's for the wild card, you have to enter online, and maybe you have some feedback on this. Is they only have 3 minutes to showcase what they can do. What do you think they should be focusing on in these 3 minutes? Because they're not in front of a live crowd. Yeah, they got to perform pretty much for the judges. What do you think they should focus on when putting together a 3-minute set for the eliminations?
So first of all, I would say really study the criteria. So if you go on the DMC's website and you click the DMC Open, it has here what the criteria is and what you're being judged on.
Mhm.
Take out number 4. There's showmanship and stage presence.
Yeah.
Stage presence necessarily. I mean, you're not on a stage. The stage is the screen.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can also just acknowledge that you're filming a video, like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Perform. But yeah, I would say study the criteria specifically. What's on the screen here? What's on the website? And just craft your set to suit. It says here musicality, effective use of musical elements such as melody, harmony, and rhythm, ability to display a solid mix of genres, eras, and tempos. This speaks for itself. How can you do that within 3 minutes?
Yeah.
Say, okay, what songs, what tempos, what genres, where do I want to go? How can I do this in 3 minutes? And then keep going from there. Composition and originality. Okay, yeah. How do I tell my story and stay true to myself? Of course, that is really important to somebody like me. No, I'm not a judge, so
Yeah.
take that with a grain of salt. But
But a very qualified one. I mean, someone asked the chat if you were judging DMC World.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, we'd love it. But
Yeah.
simply put, I would say just try to tick all the boxes of what's in front of you in that 3 minutes.
Nice.
Am I technical? Can I show at least that I can do something technical? What are the things that, or what are the factors, or what makes something technical? Okay, am I beat matching? Can I beat juggle? Can I do a simple scratch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to go too deep on that. Like it's like I interviewed a kid who won the DMC USA finals, and his dad is a mobile DJ.
Yeah.
And he says sometimes during his sets he'll go off scratching for more than 32 bars, and his dad's like, "Hey, calm down! Like you're playing for a crowd. Like,
what are you doing?" Exactly.
Yeah. Keep the vibe there.
Exactly.
Yeah. 100%.
I think once you could put together those 3 things, you have a very solid foundation.
Nice.
And then the showmanship and the overall impression. Let's see, the wow factor. I mean, if you could come up with something cool, that's innovative, cool. That's extra. That's gravy. Like we say in Barbados, so it would be the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Showmanship. Acknowledge the camera. Look at the camera. Allow your personality to shine through that. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Don't
sir.
just keep looking down. If you say something, if you got a song that going, I'm the best. Say, yo, I'm the best. You know what I mean? I acknowledge and perform. Just don't play I'm the best and stand up like this, because we don't believe that you're the best if you do like this. If your head down like this, prove to us, perform to us, show us.
Yeah. At the same time, this is you're as a party rocker, you're an entertainer.
Yes.
You entertain.
Somebody in the chat says, what style of beat juggling is it called when you hit the cues at different speeds to blend with a beat of another song? What is that? Is that finger drumming?
The cues. Oh yeah, finger drumming.
That's yeah. That has no. I mean, know that since the what do they call it? The SP1. Since the SP1 came about, and then now we have the pads built into the mixers, thanks to the designers of the S9 and S11. You can now finger drumming is now, I guess, a technical thing. Would y'all put that under being
Yeah.
technical?
It's both. I think it's just like scratching now, right?
Yeah, I think it's just utilization of the mixer. You know what I mean? Now it's a thing that's available for you to use now.
Yeah.
Is it a plus? I mean, like I said, the technology that's in front of us now, and it allows us to do that, where we can
how you utilize tech. So yeah, I guess it's technical in a sense.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yes. Revert asks are these the rules for the DMZ Classic or Open? This is Open.
Yeah, we're talking about the Open,
the Open.
y'all.
Yeah, and I
So
think
for those of
technically
you,
speaking. Oh, go ahead.
oh no, guys, for those of you just joining the room, so we are discussing the new category for DMC. You know, traditionally DMC has been a 6-minute, more technical scratching, beat juggling kind of type style of ballad, but the Open is definitely a more foundation mixing competition, and everything we've been talking about, like all the elements that go into all the criteria, the qualities that go into a party rocking set, and I mean all that stuff really kind of plays in there. There's a lot of stuff that's available for us to do now. So
Yeah, what's up, Revert from the UK?
Yeah.
He entered 3-style too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the technical side is really about what you did in your set too, is manually doing everything, the mashups, the genre shifts, or not the genre, the tempo shifts.
Yep.
It might not mean much to the crowd, but it means much to us who are at DMC and like the technical aspect of it. So the less pre-production you do, I mean, to do a tempo shift and to do it at the speed that you did it, there's a lot of stuff on DJ City where you can just download some pre-produced transitions.
I mean, I use them in the club all the time.
Yeah, exactly. So but for a competition, that's probably the difference.
Yeah, it would make sense to do it manually.
Yeah.
I mean, to be able to have to select, get your cues, and be a octopus at the same time. I mean, handling this, changing that, moving that. I mean, like it's a lot to definitely. I mean, but as a judge, that's something I appreciate as well. I love seeing, like, especially during your set when you were doing the tempo shifts. It's like to handle all that, but have to be mindful of that at the same time.
It's always a plus if you do it live. Always.
Yeah, 100%. What made DMC want to go in this route? Artificial or art? How do you say
Article.
that? Article. My bad.
Yeah.
It like Puffy said, there was just a void, and no one was brave enough to do it. So we took it on, and just said, it's time to kind of get back to representing all DJs. That's why there's a scratch category. The classic does honor the turntablists. That's why it's still there. The supremacy honors the head-to-head. Who knows what other battles we bring in, but the Open was the huge one that we felt a lot of DJs, especially younger DJs, could use, because all of us were in our 20s and 30s doing it back then, during the 3-style times. But who won last year's DMC Open? It was Stereo Sorrow from Portugal. He won the World Finals last year in Paris.
Sweet.
But yeah, man, I mean, this has been a great discussion about your philosophies, about what you felt it means to be a mixing champion, not just the Open champion. What after battling, since you're done battling, I don't know if you're ever going to be back into battling, because
man. My last thing was we won the Culture Clash last year.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's a good way to, or that's a good note to hang it up on,
Yeah. Do you think battling is still somewhat, like, even as a champion already, do you still think that if there was a battle that spoke to you, it would drive you enough to come back in and do it? Kind of like the Culture Clash and all that?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think I kind of got what I needed out of battling.
Nice.
And it was definitely like it is a huge character building experience.
Beautiful.
Competition in itself, whether it's music or sport, whatever, is huge for character building. But yeah, I think I got what I needed out of battling, and I probably wouldn't enter any more competitions. But I must say, I am very. Somebody said put 100K or more on it. I'm Puffy there. Funny enough, yo, you know what's really funny? I never told anybody this. Well, I mean, I think it came out because there was one post and then it just almost didn't happen. I was in the Triller competition,
Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
remember
what?
seeing that. Yeah. I was like, oh, shit.
I entered and I got in.
And what happened to it?
It just disappeared. I think Triller and Versus had a thing, and
Oh, okay. And it just imploded.
yeah, I mean, Triller is no more now, is it? I don't know.
I remember seeing you and I was like, oh my God, he's gonna take that shit.
That competition was serious,
Yeah. It was.
Bruh.
It looked
So many heavy hitters were in there, bro. I was shaking still. I was like, yo, nah, if I come in on this, I'm gonna come good. I call all my links for that. $1 million, you're mad. I had all the links on speed dial for that. Don't play. But yeah, nah, I think I'm good. I'm good on battling. But I was saying I'm very happy that DMC is now adding the open category. Because again, I stand and I speak for all the regular DJs. We play music for people to dance to.
Mhm.
We play music in parties. So that's the basis of it for me. And to have a platform that you could be yourself and that could amplify what it is you're doing is always great. So thanks to DMC for again creating a platform for party rocking DJs to showcase their talents. Because I believe in that.
Beautifully said. Thank you, man. I appreciate the time being on the show and
I always
thank
get
you so much.
to these conversations, Shar. I forget how much I love doing this, So y'all just reminded me, like, yo, I need to do this more often for real.
So what's going on with you next? Are you on tour or where are you? What's the moves?
We are pressing gas on the tour right now. So we just did an event in New York. Well, as ambassador, no, we just we did a really special event in New York where we took a famous. There's this fishing town in Oistins in Barbados, called Oistins, and every Friday there's an event called the Fish Fry. This is a place where fishermen, fisherwomen, business people, entrepreneurs, they have a fish fry live in front of you, and people go there to buy grilled fish, fried fish, all types of fish. You get dolphin, your mahi, marlin, barracuda, shrimp, lobster, you name it.
Oh my God.
And obviously Barbados is known for flying fish as well, right?
Yeah.
So it's a huge cultural experience. And if you come to Barbados, you have to experience that, where it's like some of the best food that you will ever have in your life. So we basically took that product, that unique and cultural experience that people have here, and packed it up and took it to New York. So we tried to set it up similarly, and then there's a party aspect of it where there's a DJ and people come and sing and perform, and so we actually did that, and we threw it together in a venue in Brooklyn, and bro, like we had to close the doors. Like it was free too.
Yeah.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, it was open to anybody. You could have just walked in and experienced this thing. We did that, and then I flew to right after that. The next morning, I flew to Dominica for a show,
Wow.
and then I came back yesterday, and then I go to Bermuda this weekend,
Yeah.
and then the tour just continues from there. We do Europe. We're doing. I see somebody asking about my show in Sweden in the chat here. Well, yeah, we're doing a Europe tour this year for the first time, and then obviously I do. This is probably going to be my 7th year touring Asia. But yeah, international touring DJ things.
Yeah. Shout out all
Indeed.
your links and all that, man.
Yeah.
Yes, man. Revert says my girlfriend is pressuring me to take her to Barbados for a spa trip. Do the thing now, please. Come now. He said I need to come over to do a set too. Let me know when. I'm hardly here, but if I'm around, then maybe we could throw a little something. Have a throw a brunch party and have us both spin out it or something.
Nice.
But yeah, we on tour. I do in production a lot this year too. Finally putting
nice.
my songs out. So there's songs that I got from 5 years ago that I finally release in another 2 weeks or so. So yeah, working on that too.
Nice. Are you releasing those like on Spotify and wherever people get their music?
Spotify,
so
Apple Music, Beat Source, you name it, everywhere.
they just look up DJ Puffy.
Of course.
Beautiful, man. Thank you for doing this, man. Like,
Thank you so much.
This was
A lot
real,
of-
man. Thank you.
yeah,
Thank
definitely.
you guys. Thank you guys. We need more of this too.
Yeah.
Too many people on threads talking shit.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Man,
Then
we're
he
looking
did
forward,
pull
man,
up.
looking forward to so much things coming from DJ Puffy. Yo, everybody in the room right now, if you got the lighter emotes, put up some lighter emotes right now for the one and only DJ Puffy, y'all.
Thank you guys.
Thank
Appreciate
you
you
so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, bro. Yeah, check out.
I'm gonna
check
share
out
that
Puffy.
breakdown. Thanks for reminding me. I downloaded it. I'm gonna share that breakdown on Instagram.
Yeah.
Now I can chop it up.
Yeah, I loved it, man. It was just the honesty behind it was everything. But it also like showed like the composure that you had even through your fuck ups. You're like, that wasn't supposed to happen there. You're like,
But that's the reality, B. Like
it
shit,
is.
nobody is perfect. Nobody is perfect. The greatest of the greatest. We all make mistakes. So
Yeah.
it's how you recover. Recovering is just a part of the game, man.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh,
Boom.
yo, amazing competition, y'all. Thank you, yo, everybody in the chat room. Thank you so much for joining this edition of Table Talk with DJ Puffy of Barbados, the world champion. Man, thank you so much for joining us for this, man. We appreciate all your insights and everything that you know. I mean, it's like I said, with this new category of the DMC Open,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's anybody else where we could really talk to get a really in-depth talk about, you know, the walkthrough. Like I said, me and Antrix were talking yesterday, and I was listening to the walkthrough. Just everything that got, you know, that went into that, and you know, to really get in your head of what the play-by-play was amazing. You know what I mean? Like every little, that like first parts I didn't know that you felt you messed up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for those of you who haven't seen this, please watch that on YouTube right now. It's what's this? A DJ Puffy freestyle walkthrough, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna share a link. I'm gonna post on Instagram now, and then
Beautiful.
There you go.
just do a automation thing so that people could comment and grab the link.
Sick.
Perfect.
But now, thank you all for reminding me about that. I totally forgot about that. Now you can tell you like,
Man, thank you, man. Puffy, thank you so much for joining us. We really
Later.
appreciate you.
see
Take care,
ya.
huh?
Yeah,
All
man.
right.
Hope to see you around in real life.
Of course, of
Yeah.
course, of course.
Yeah, sooner than later. Thank you.
Bro. I appreciate it. That was dope.
Yeah, that was so dope, man. I mean, like I said, it's remember before we talked about doing this episode of Table Talk, it's like, yo, he's the
Yeah.
one to talk to really get.
And
You know,
go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, you know, I mean, that's why I was so quiet because I wanted to hear what he had to say, and everything he nailed everything. I was thinking, like, yeah, exactly, and that for a mixing competition, the blueprints. That's what I'm saying. I really encourage everybody who haven't seen that walkthrough that he did of his routine. You really get to see what. I don't know, man. Like I said, Caribbean DJs are just built different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you know, and I think the one thing that he said, you know, being on the Jamrock cruise, I know exactly what you mean. Like people look at you just like that. Like, okay, impress me.
I'd be
you know?
terrified.
Yo, I mean, it's different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's and that's why I think, but it's also I think definitely inspirational for anyone planning to join the Open because there's so much elements that go into a set, creating a quality set.
Yeah.
But now, especially for the elimination, now that you only get 3 minutes, there's a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. To answer, recognize in the chat, he was saying, when does it start? The DMC Open has been, the wild card is open only until June 15th, which is, it ends in 5 days, but there are regionals you can enter depending on the country you're in. To rewatch this, it'll be on YouTube and on Spotify under the Step Up podcast, because we definitely want people to kind of get these tips. But yeah, I love Puffy approached this entire conversation with a lot more emotion put into your set, a lot more thought, rather than what you typically hear is like, oh, we need to see beat juggling and scratching. It's like, well, if you can do it, do it. If you can get busy one time, do it just to show that you can do it.
Right.
And I love that part of what he was saying, because he approached this in a total emotional way, and that's what I think the Open champion should be doing when they're thinking about connecting with us in Tokyo. Is really approaching that party vibe, and that's completely different from the classic. Yeah, completely different technically speaking too. Like, you can still, based on if you watch the walkthrough, he fucked up a lot. He didn't fuck up a lot, but he fucked up enough on himself that he was like, there is still that element of things can go wrong. And just by triggering the wrong track on the wrong time is enough to kind of like
throw you off, right?
Yeah. Like,
but the way he plays off his mistakes, I mean, that's all part of it. Whether you join any competition, it's just, something that you mess up on.
Yeah.
The crowd might not even know that you messed up. So it's the way you play it off. That's well.
That's the technical side of it. Like, he was like, I fucked up here. I came in too early, so I'm just scratching to kind of kill time. So that's dope. Yeah. That's it. I think, don't make it seem that you see me fucked up. Just keep it moving. Yep. That's right. RC3, shout out, bro. See you soon, for the finals. But if you're still interested in entering the DMC Open, the wild card is open for the world. DMCDJChamps.com is where you can register. For me, if you're trying to enter the USA, DMCDJChamps.us. You have about 5 days to submit for the DMC Open, your 3-minute video in order to be part of the elimination process. But yeah, man, dope episode again, Short. I appreciate this, man.
Definitely dope episode for sure. For those of you, the DMC USA is in August in San Francisco. Please come through if you can make it. We'd love to see you guys here. If not, we would love to see you guys in Japan. I mean, it is DMC's 40th anniversary this year, and a lot of many monumental stuff is about to go down. There's details to be followed,
to be announced. Yeah, to be announced. I think we have a solid lineup. If we're celebrating 40 years of DMC, I think people will really like this lineup.
It's officially the longest running DJ championship in the world. You know what I mean? And for those of you who aren't familiar with DMC, definitely look up any DMC championships on YouTube. So much. I mean, I think we're hopefully going to establish a DMC channel soon to show just showing DJ battles on the regular,
Twitch, Twitch channel.
Yeah, Twitch channel. Yes, absolutely. So
revert. It's 2 minutes for the classic. That's correct, sir.
Yeah, classic rules have stayed the same. So
yeah, man, this is gonna be fun. I think the next episode we have another special guest about the Open.
Yeah, we'll be back next Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah, next Thursday.
Next Thursday, same time, y'all. That's 11 a.m. West Coast time, 2 p.m. East Coast time. Thank you to everybody around the world, especially all our folks in Europe and everywhere else around the world. We're happy to have you join us, because you normally would have done this super late, and then everybody would be asleep by then. So for those of you tuning in from other parts of the world, thank you for coming through and hanging out with us for this, because there's so much to go through.
Correct.
40 years, y'all, of DMC. So hopefully you guys can join us.
Get your tickets.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. Take care. Stay tuned. We're about to hand this over to my brother, Gaslamp Killer. But Antrix, brother, thank you so much for doing this. You know what I mean? That's
You too, bro.
Yeah,
Always
man.
good to
I
see
mean,
you around and healthy.
yeah, this is such an important discussion, especially with a new category that's being introduced to the world, man. So hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully this episode gives you a better idea of what the Open's about. We're not, it's definitely a different steez, and definitely we're just trying to reach out to the all DJs, if anything,
Yeah.
There's
The
something for everybody.
DMCs, the Open is the DMCs in terms of just get back to what you're doing as a DJ. Turntablism is an elevated platform of DJing. The Open is getting back to what DJing is all about. So,
Yeah.
and who better to talk about it than you and Puffy,
Word up.
the
Thank you
upcoming
so
guest.
much,
So
man.
thank you.
Thank you, man. Big up everybody around the world, man. DMC Open, DMC World, for DMC 40 years, man, in the making. And like I said, I think this is a perfect time to introduce something new to extend the legacy. You know what I mean? So that's what's going down. So big up to everybody in the room. Thank you for hanging out with us. We're about to take this over to my brother Gaslamp Killer. Take care, y'all. Antrix, thank you,
Peace.
brother.
Thank
Peace.
you. Peace, guys.